Hey there, let me ask you something. Have you ever had a moment in your life where you suddenly realized something important? And for a little while, that insight felt powerful. You thought, okay, now I see it. Now things are going to change. But then a week passes, maybe two. Somehow nothing actually moves. Not because you don't care, not because you're lazy, and certainly not because you're incapable, but because insight in itself doesn't change a life. Structure does. Hi, I'm Trusted Tour Guide Annie, and if you've been walking with me for a while, you've probably felt this too. That space between what we realize and what we actually do. I remember standing outside a funeral. You know that moment? People are lingering, taking a little longer than usual to say goodbye. There's this quiet awareness in the air that something mattered and something was lost. And I remember the conversations. We should get together more. Let's not wait so long next time. Life's too short. And everyone meant it, including me. You could feel it. It wasn't small talk. It wasn't just polite. And for a few days that feeling would stay with me. It softened things. People feel closer. It made things feel a little more important. But then schedules fill up, emails are sent, plans don't get made, and a week or two later, I remember realizing nothing had actually changed. Not the relationships, not the routines, not the way we showed up for each other. And that was the moment. Not the funeral, not the conversations. The moment was realizing how quickly something that felt so real could quickly disappear. And it raises a quiet question. Why bother with all of this? Why try to hold on to moments? Why try to follow through? Who cares, right? Does anyone really care? Why don't they do it? Why build anything at all? And the only answer I've found that feels true is this, and it's based on a famous quote. It's not mine, but think about this. We're not here to preserve the ashes and wallow in the past. We're here to pass on the flame, the things we've learned. Not to hold on to moments exactly as they were, but to carry forward what mattered about them. That's what I am dedicated to. The connection, the intention, the care. Because meaningful moments don't turn into meaningful lives on their own. They need somewhere to go. Because for years, I believed something a lot of people believe. I believed that if I just understood things deeply enough, the action would naturally follow. But life doesn't always work that way. You can understand something perfectly and still never move. Not because the insight is wrong, but because insight lives in your head, movement lives in your calendar. And those are two very different places. So over time, without even ever planning it, I started building small systems, not big complicated ones, just little structures that made things easier to follow through on. My daily journal, my daily list, things like set aside Wednesday for Wisdom Wednesday, or creating simple places like my journal where something meaningful doesn't just get felt, it gets kept. An idea, a story, a moment, a recipe, ourrecipetree.com, a name of someone I should call, or writing things down the moment they matter instead of trusting myself to remember later. Because later is where most things quietly disappear. It's like they go into a tunnel and they're gone. None of these things are dramatic. They're not big breakthrough moments. They're not the kind of things that people talk about or that they show on social media. They're just our little precious moments. Remember, there used to be those little figurines? Just an aside, precious moments. They're just small systems. But here's what I've come to understand: small systems quietly can change your life. Because once something has a place to live, it stops depending on motivation. And motivation is one of the most unreliable things we have. It comes and goes. It shows up when everything feels clear. It disappears when that calendar gets full and you get busy and tired and all of these things. But a system is patient. It waits for you. And when you come back to look at it, There it is. It says, okay, ready to keep going? And this is where my project manager brain started showing up in my personal life. Not because I wanted to run my life like a project, but because I realized something simple. The same things that help people build bridges, launch ideas, organize teams, also help us follow through on the things we say that matter. No giant plans, no perfect systems, just clarity, just structure to get done that bucket list and live that life in the way that you want to. Just a place where the next step lives. Because when the next step has a home, you don't have to keep rediscovering it. And rediscovering the next step is where the momentum gets lost. It's like, oh, what do I do next? It's okay. Go back to your system, get calm, you'll get there. That's where we should get together more, our moments fade. Not because they weren't real, because they were very real and we very much felt it. But we didn't give it the attention we could have. But because they didn't have anywhere to land. So they disappear. And life continues exactly as it was. That's why even the smallest structure can be powerful. A note, a calendar entry, a simple place where something meaningful doesn't get lost. Nothing fancy, just somewhere your future self can find the thread again. Because the truth is, most meaningful things in life don't get built in big emotional moments. They get built in what happens after that. When you go home from the funeral, when you get home from work, when you have those moments, you can take a break. Just a little one. You show up, you do a little, you leave, and then you come back again. I mean, you get to work every day. You can take a moment and write things down or whatever works for you. Voice note. Not overnight, not perfectly, but steadily. So if you've been carrying something around in your mind lately, an idea, a project, a relationship you want to be more present in, or even just that quiet thought of, I should reach out to, maybe the next step isn't more thinking. Drink the water. Remember that one? Maybe the next step is simply giving that moment a place to live, somewhere it doesn't disappear, somewhere it can turn into something real. Just a small structure, nothing dramatic, just a beginning. And I'll be right here next Wednesday to walk with you and to appreciate these moments. And as I learn different tech to create and preserve a life worth living, then I'll share them with you. Check out my website, check in the comments or in the description of this video. You'll see different resources that I have. Use them, use your own. Don't let this life go by without preserving those special moments and creating them. And I challenge you. If you think of someone that you should reach out to, but you don't have time today, put it in your calendar for 2 weeks from now. And if you don't have time when that calendar reminder comes up, pick a time to put it in your future calendar. That little system, I promise you, will get you to seeing that special someone. And, this may sound dark, but it's not intended to. It's just a gentle or maybe a heavy reminder. You never know when it's going to be the last time for anything. A hug, a kiss, a goodbye. You never know when it's going to be the last time. So, I'll see you next Wednesday. Let's live this life to our best and let's keep going. And in the meantime, keep walking toward what matters.